Hi, I am Ufuoma Ogaga, founder and owner of Goshen Accounting Services, where we educate and empower nonprofit organizations to transform the amazing communities that they serve. Now, this week, I have been having lots of communication and lots of conversations with a lot of executive directors and CEO, where the number one questions that keeps coming up is, how do I find a treasurer? Do you know anybody that is a treasurer that can serve on my board as a director, as a key officer? And in this video, I'm going to share with you my particular tips that you can leverage to find you an amazing treasurer. The role of a treasurer is pretty much twofold, right? So if your organization is $500,000 or more and you have a CFO, typically most of the work is done by the CFO, and then the treasurer serves more as a fiduciary support. Mostly they are working hand in hand with the executive director and the CFO to make sure that the entire organization's finances is in compliance, and pretty much holding the board accountable to meeting those money goals. Now, if you're a smaller organization that doesn't have a CFO, maybe you just have an in-house bookkeeper, oftentimes where we come in, we serve more as that advisory support. And what I usually would encourage organizations that are, you know, don't have a CFO level support, but do have a bookkeeper in house, what I encourage you to do is make sure that your treasurer has 30 to 40% financial background to be able to understand how to keep your nonprofit organization lean, operating in a most efficient manner, and helping you grow and achieve and accomplish those money goals that you are setting. Now, what are the tips to help you find this amazing treasure? I have served on several organizations' board as a treasurer. It is the most interesting job. It does come with a lot of responsibility, just as any other role in your organization. But the key thing that will help you, that I found that is helpful for my own clients, is number one, create a position ad for this role. This is a role that you definitely want to market on your social media pages. You want to market it on your personal LinkedIn pages, as well as your profiles and also your organization's website, all of your organization's social media platform. You want to do that. Second thing that you need to do is ask your current board members and some of the people that are volunteers in your community. Go to them and ask them, hey, do you know an amazing treasurer? Here's all the criteria that we are looking for in a treasurer. Do you know somebody in your community that fits this role? Oftentimes, before you go out looking outside of what you have, you may want to talk to your current board of directors to see, does any one of them want to step into this role? If you have directors that maybe have not served as an officer before, you may want to ask them to step into the role to, reshuffle things and all of that stuff. So those are first two tips that you definitely want to try, right? Second tip that I'm going to give to you is, what do you do, or what are the criteria you should have as part of your vetting process, as part of your research process, to ensure that you get the best treasurer for your organization? Number one, I stated this earlier, your treasurer needs to have anywhere from 20 to 40% financial background. What do I mean by financial background? And please note, just because they were a banker or just because they were X in whatever role that they were serving does not necessarily mean that they have financial background. Financial background that I'm referring to is a background of understanding how to read a nonprofit's financial statements, understanding how to read a nonprofit's audit report, of nonprofits 990, to ensure that all of these things are in compliance, understanding how to help the board set better fundraising goals, help the board set better money, strategic revenue modules that are necessary to keep your organization thriving and keep it growing so that you can get all that money that you want to hire those key team members that you need to hire. So this treasurer is definitely needs to have a financial background. It could be somebody that has either served in a executive director capacity for another nonprofit organization, or it could be somebody that has done heavy nonprofit operations where they were very much involved in looking at finances 50% of the time, right? The other thing that you also want this person to have is you do want this person to have some kind of formal background working in the nonprofit industry. And the reason I'm emphasizing this is because you want them to really understand the fiscal and the fiduciary responsibility that comes with being a treasurer. You do not want anybody that's going to sit on that table and do absolutely nothing. This person is literally going to be your right-hand person outside of your bookkeeper, outside of your CFO. This is the person that is going to really be your advocate at the board level. This person should have a little bit of an assertive personality. This person should really understand, how can I get the board to do what they need to do to make sure that the money comes in when it needs to come in. That's what this person's job is. So in order for you to get to that level, you want to make sure that the person you're putting in this role understands the finances, understands what it takes to run a nonprofit organization, understands what it takes to run your nonprofit organization, meaning that there is synergy between their values, their mission, and your organization's mission. You want this person to be well-rounded in understanding the makeup of your organization. Because if they are not, they may be a hindrance to your blessing. And you do not want that. This person is going to be the person that you're going to call, you're going to chat with more times. Oftentimes, they're going to be involved in your financial procedure process. So this person needs to be really great for your organization. They got to bring their A game to the table. And keep in mind, this person needs to also understand modern technology, modern current and best practices for nonprofit organization. They may not necessarily know all the federal and tax laws and all the 300 things that we as accounting professionals have to remember or know, but they still need to have an open mindset of learning as they go. They need to keep an open mindset of paying attention to those things that your auditors may point out, paying attention to those things that we, your accounting partner, may point out throughout the entire process that you're working with us. Like I stated before, I have served in both capacities. So when I am coaching my nonprofit clients, I'm doing it from a lens of not only a board member, but also a lens of an accounting professional that knows her craft. So keep in mind that if you want to move the needle in your board meetings, if you want to see the fruition and the manifestation of money goals, you do need the right treasurer on that board. This is the person that is going to hold the board accountable to meeting those money goals. This is the person that may need to call the emergency meeting to say, hey, heads up, we are going into danger zone of red. Everybody needs to be able to contribute money, or everybody needs to be able to leverage their connections to get us those donations that are necessary in the organization. This is the person that is going to ask you, the executive director, the CEO. They're going to always ask you, so where are we with the finances? Where are we with the money goes? Oftentimes, my role, I collaborate with this person, and we literally work hand in hand with the executive director or CEO to make sure that every needle moves the right way. And oftentimes, because I serve as a CFO for many of our clients and many of our nonprofit organizations, oftentimes if your treasurer is absent, I can step into that role to, present the financial statements to a committee, to a board, wherever is necessary, if you, the executive director or CEO, don't feel comfortable with that. So those are my tips of what to do, what to think about, what to pay attention to when you are trying to find a treasurer. Look inward first. Is there anybody in your community or in your current board or that has been volunteering for your organization that can meet your criteria? Create that job ad for this, because this is a job, right? So create the ad, spell out what your criteria are, spell out the things that you absolutely need, spell out the things that makes a great treasurer for your organization. All treasurers are different. One that may work for another entity may not work for your entity. One that has served in a different board may not work for your own board. So make sure you spell out what your criteria are, what you're looking for, and then leverage your connections in the community to find that amazing person. And when you find that amazing person, or when you find those lists of candidates, please interview them. Have other people interview them. Probably test them on their knowledge. Probably really test them to make sure, are they current with the current nonprofits rules and regulations and accounting standards and all of that stuff. Because if they don't have that financial background, that 20 to 40% threshold that I mentioned, you may find yourself that you very well need to invest in a financial education training for this particular person or for your entire board, so that whenever we send you financials, or whenever any of your bookkeepers send you financials, or your CPA is giving you anything, you can read that information, you can understand it in plain English, and you don't have to be, having the stare of deer in the headlights situation. So those are my tips. Create the job ad, leverage your current network, make sure your candidate has at least 20 to 40% financial background, and the rest you want to test for skill set, you want to test for culture fit, you want to test for how well they understand how a nonprofit should be operated on an amazing scale, and how best they can help you as an executive director really operate in your true genius position, and how best they can help lead the board or help the board arrive at the right conclusion, hold the board accountable to meeting those financial goals that are being set every year.